each board member has received for the review and consideration the agenda and materials associated with each agenda item for their review and consideration. The agenda and materials associated with each agenda item for the board's approval via the district's paperless Board of Education agenda system, Board Docs. The public can access the agenda through the school district's website. The agenda is available through the district's website for public viewing the Sunday prior to the board meeting. Board members have the opportunity to call the superintendent and chief financial officer for information concerning the agenda items and to request, if needed, additional information. This meeting is being televised on a delayed basis and will be shown on Spectrum Cable Channel 1026 in Mentor and Channel 1025 in Mentor on the Lake. This meeting is also being videotaped and will be shown on our YouTube channel, Cardinal TV Mentor, Ohio. Please place your mobile telephones on silent mode during the meeting. Mr. Wade, in his role as CFO and Secretary of the Board Minutes, will now share some protocols regarding our public participation policy.
Good evening. I'd like to remind everybody, as a regulatory agent for the board, I want to take a few minutes to again clarify expectations for public participation in board meetings to help to ensure we have a productive and respectful meeting. The board invites and welcomes public participation in our board meetings at 2 times during the meeting. The first opportunity to speak is on agenda items only. There is also a second opportunity to speak on any agenda item one wishes that is near the end of the agenda. Per the recently updated policy 1.12, participants may only speak 1 time during each hearing of the public opportunities. However, participants may not speak on the same topic more than once per meeting, regardless of the period of public participation in which the comments are made. Participants wishing to speak are asked to come to either of the microphones located at the entrances and are required to announce their name, address, and school or schools where their children attend if applicable. Statements are limited to 3 minutes, and any questions must be directed to the presiding officer. During the hearing of the public, we ask that all speakers exercise the appropriate decorum for the board to conduct their business. Specifically, in the case of public participation, all members of the community need to be treated with respect. Members of the audience should not interrupt or speak out while someone is speaking out during any portion of the meeting, as each person can and should have the opportunity to speak uninterrupted if they so choose. Please know anyone who repeatedly fails to comply with these expectations of appropriate decorum or deters the board from being able to conduct their business will be told to leave the meeting. If at the end of the public participation no statement is made, please know this in no way demonstrates a lack of care for the comments that are shared by our community. We want to be thoughtful in our approach and provide a response in a timely manner, if and when appropriate. Again, the intent of public participation is for us to hear from our stakeholders so the board and the administration use the feedback to best serve the community.
Mr. Porter, Mr. Wade. My name is Lori Dodick, and I live in North Shore Drive, Mentor. This evening, I'm speaking as a former employee of Mentor Schools and as a parent of 2 children who graduated from Mentor Schools. I want to thank the Mentor Board for their continual concern for the safety of our students and staff by promptly creating and presenting at this evening's board meeting the resolution regarding not exercising authority under HB 99. Ohio Substitute House Bill 99 allows school boards to authorize school district employees to go armed within a school safety zone within which the Board of Governing Body has authority, which would be you. Your resolution declares and affirms that the Mentor Schools will not exercise its authority under HB 99 to authorize any of its employees who are not school safety and security officers to convey or possess any deadly weapons, including firearms, in any of its schools or on any school property under the board's control. In today's society, we need to do whatever is possible to keep our children safe. So as a former parent of Mentor Schools, I thank you.
I'm a parent of 2 Mentor graduates, a long time volunteering in schools, and my kids did both graduate from Mentor High School. Speaking regarding the selection of the books for independent classroom reading, I just want to applaud the board and the curriculum director for choosing this company and for providing a variety of books that students can choose to read. This is a choice that students can make. I heard a wonderful quote yesterday from an educator named Dr. Rudine Sims Bishop. She talked about the value of books for children, and I'll just paraphrase what she said. She said that books can serve as mirrors, as windows, and as sliding doors. They serve as mirrors when they reflect a child's own lived experience. They're windows when they allow children to see the experiences of others. And they're sliding doors when they actually enable a child to put themselves into the experience of the book and perhaps into the experience of another person. And all of these ways of reading are valuable, both seeing oneself portrayed in a book and seeing how people who are very unlike you are portrayed in a book. We really owe it to our children to allow them the freedom to experience this so that they can learn and grow. I find it interesting that people who talk so much about freedom and freedom of expression are actively trying to suppress the freedom of other parents to allow their children those experiences in school. Parents who want to strictly monitor their own child's reading, they're welcome to send books to school with their children that they approve of. But we don't have any right to take that away from other families. The freedom to read is an essential freedom, and I appreciate that the board and the curriculum director see that a diversity and variety of books is essential to this. Thank you.
First of all, I want to bring up the fact that somebody brought up Common Core. Common Core is not a curriculum, and it was brought together by the National Governors Association in 2010 by Republican and Democratic governors. So let's get that out of the way. I will say that my children learned about World War II, yet they have not invaded Poland. My children read Harry Potter. They have not become wizards. My children became well-rounded, intelligent citizens, which is what public education is for, to create good citizens. Many here complained about masks and closing of schools, but are perfectly content now with wanting to take their children out or homeschool them. Public funds belong to public schools, not to private schools that can deny anyone of their choosing. Schools, like government, are not a business. They don't make money. Their product is lives, not cogs. If you teach both sides, will the kids also learn both sides of 9/11, or do we only sympathize with the Nazis? This is the gripe du jour. I don't know what problem they're going to come up with next week, but I hope that we'll be able to understand that they do need to learn both sides. If your children are going to become good citizens of this country, they need to know both sides of the story.
I'd like to present two comments in support of the IDR books. First, in the June 26th Plain Dealer, there was a report from the Washington Post, quote, "U.S. continues to get older and more diverse," unquote. This information is based on data from the U.S. Census Bureau. This is clear evidence that the school district needs to continue to support diversity, equity, and inclusion in all aspects of the curriculum, including by accepting the IDR books. The population of the United States is changing. We need to prepare all our students to be successful citizens in a new world, and the inclusive books in this collection will do that. Secondly, I'd like to share a personal story from my teaching experience about the power of diversified literature to impact the lives of marginalized students. In late November of 2016, President Obama was preparing to leave the White House. I was teaching at Boulevard Elementary School in Cleveland Heights. One morning, I escorted 3 fourth grade students to my classroom, 2 girls and 1 boy. 2 students were black, 1 student was white. As we walked through the library, 1 student noticed this book, First Family, and asked if they could look at it. And to be transparent, this book is not part of the IDR collection, but it is an example of diversified, inclusive literature. For the next 20 minutes, I had the privilege of listening to students discuss the first black president of the United States. They dreamed about Michelle Obama running for president, and they did not stop there. They even imagined daughters Sasha and Malia each becoming president one day too. They were dreaming of an Obama dynasty. For my black students, this book was about the first black president became a mirror for them to see themselves and to dream about all the possibilities ahead of them. For my white student, this book became a window for her to understand the challenges faced by the first black family to live in the White House. And for the girls in my class, this book became a mirror as they looked at First Lady Michelle Obama, an accomplished attorney and spokesperson for many causes, and imagined what great achievements may lie ahead of them too. I urge you to accept the IDR books. Thank you.
The school system, I'm coming here every month because I don't want, people don't understand that there's LGBTQ kids in the school. They're not going to go anywhere. I don't care how many people you bring with you. I'm not going to go anywhere. Everybody, I have so many people behind me and supporting me. So I really support you guys having the books because it's super important. There's so many children that are LGBTQ. Their parents might not know because of reactions like you're getting from the people on the other side of the room that think it's not okay to be gay or trans or whatever the case may be. So, no, yes it is. Every month I come here and I hear about how horrible it is to talking about being gay in front of children. What's wrong with it? There's gay people. Get over it. There is. No, and I'm not going to listen to any moral character things from Jerry Serino or any of his grandchildren with the reason my kids had to leave St. Mary's. So I'm not going to listen to his grandson who just graduated from Notre Dame.
Excuse me, Ms. Anderson, you need to make sure you're addressing the board.
I'm not listening to it from that. What about, I'm speaking.
And please, let's get respect for the speaker.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
every month,
Please, we've asked the speaker to address the board, and we've asked the audience to please let the speaker speak. Thank you.
yeah, or they
I understand.
They need to go. Or I'm going to go, and then I'm going to bring everybody with me that supports us next time. This is crazy. Okay.
Are they going to be removed?
You removed my husband the last time. These people keep interrupting me. They happened the last time. You said you weren't going to tolerate it. So they need to go.
That's where they've been warned.
They need to go.
Continue.
They need to go. No? No?
They've been warned. Please
Your
continue.
presentation, that's lousy.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir.
Time to go.
It's time. It's my time. It's not yours. I'm sick of listening to this garbage every month. I'm not even supposed to be here, but I have to come up here because I get a notice at the Wednesday that they're upset about a book with two moms that are gay or whatever the case is. Next week it'll be something else. It's always something. It's 2022. What are we doing here? Again, the same speech. Here I am. There they are. It's going to go back and forth. We're going to get nowhere. What if we put some positivity into this? What if we actually did something for our students instead of came here and said, we don't want to do this for these students or these separate students or these, and we're going to segregate everybody. Let's not do that. Get it together. If you mean you want to get it together, then let's meet together. I will meet with you. That's the difference. Is I will talk to you. Nobody has come to me to talk to me about anything. That's it. Have a seat, bud.
Hello, I am Lindsay Wall. I live at 7250 Beechwood Drive in Hunter. I have for the year a kindergartner and a second grader. First off, I would like to thank the board for listening to us, for listening to how diverse this crowd is, for listening to how different everyone is, and how everyone in this room believes in something different. There's a lot of diversity going across this entire room, and I think that you have done a phenomenal job listening to everybody, and everyone that's not here as well, because while there's a large crowd here tonight, obviously Mentor Schools is giant, and the parents make up a very, very, very large number, and just because they're not here doesn't mean they don't get an opinion. So while I do agree with Mr. Serino about involving the parents' opinions on certain subjects, I don't believe that doing it just at a meeting where only a small number of parents for our entire school system are able to attend is appropriate to do it that way. I feel that as you guys do your job with due diligence every time, You guys have listened to the parents, and that's why you've brought this to the table, which brings me to the point of thank you for not teaching this to our kids. Thank you for creating a safe space and allowing educators to make our kids feel comfortable enough to come to them and express who they are, tell them their secrets that maybe they don't feel comfortable enough talking about at home. You've created a diverse school system where these teachers are incredible and the students actually feel like they can talk to the teachers about what's going on inside of their mind. You didn't create a class that is specifically for these topics. These books are not being taught to our kids. They are not being assigned or graded on. You're literally just providing materials in a classroom for the kids to choose from. So thank you. Everything changes. Everything needs to evolve. As far as Colin Kaepernick goes in the book, these kids that will have access to this book don't look at Colin Kaepernick as the guy who knelt down on the field. They look at him as an athlete, if they even know who he is. It's just a children's book. But the news, adults, we watch the news. Yes, we all heard what he did. Some agree, some don't agree. That's a parent thing. That's an adult thing. These kids reading this book, which I will be honest, I have not actually read that book, but it is a children's book. And these children don't know who he is. They see an athlete. Again, thank you very much for taking the time and listening to all of this. I appreciate you guys and respect you.
And I have been able to see at the time that I have been involved with having students in Mentor, the change and the diversity in our culture as a country. And it is good to see that our schools represent those same changes and diversity that we see in our country. Our country has changed, it's evolved. Some of us are a little more concerned about it than others, some are a little afraid of it. And I can understand that. It's hard sometimes to accept what's new. We need to help our kids understand our world and the world of others around them that are not the same as them, and to let them know that there is a world out there so that they can critically think about things in addition to being able to read and write and do math. They need to know their history and the history of the other people in their country and in the world. And these books help us do that. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for presenting these books. And I also want to thank you for such prompt action on taking a stand on amendment House Bill 99 and presenting that this evening. I am pleased to see the reaction so quick. Thank you again very much for all you do for our kids.
I'm proud of Mentor Schools, and I'm excited to see the continued progress towards diversity, inclusion, and equality in the Mentor school systems. I trust the education and expertise of the teachers and the board in this school system to make the appropriate decisions on reading curriculum for elementary, middle school, and high school students. At no point do I think my limited information that I have in my day-to-day life can determine or overlap the experience and expertise teachers have. I 100% hope that you vote to allow these books in our schools. More information is better for these students, not less. Not banning books. You need to give these children more credit than you are. They are very intelligent and wise beyond their years. And that's really the bottom line. These kids that are growing up now have unlimited potential, and they're very empathetic to everybody. A little bit more information isn't going to hurt. Let the children make their decision. Bottom line. Thank you very much for your time.
Who are in my opinion, so lucky to attend a school district that is caring, that is diverse, and who accepts the advice and guidance from experts in education and in child development to make the decisions that you make for our students. I would like to point out that this month is the 32nd anniversary of the passing of the Americans with Disabilities Act. So in my lifetime, George H.W. Bush signed the Americans with Disabilities Act. Do you know why that particular bill had to be passed at the federal level? Because people didn't want families with children with disabilities to have access to public schools. They did not want individuals with disabilities to be represented in history, in their textbooks, in the books on their shelves. So finally we decided, as a country, we are not going to discriminate against a child who is born with cerebral palsy or what have you. Or my dad gets in an accident and loses his arm, he can no longer be discriminated against. If your kid reads a book about a kid in a wheelchair, do they become more sensitive to that individual? Do they see the world through that person's eyes? And maybe that makes them a better person. Maybe that makes them more sensitive. Who in here learned about school segregation, right? Ruby Bridgers? I'm sorry, I'm talking to the board. Did we learn about Ruby Bridgers in school? I think we all did. What if your grandma was like, man, segregation, that was a mistake? Was your grandma right, or was just hearing about Brown v. Board of Education? Wasn't that what you were taught? Because that is what happened. People who want to ban books never end up on the right side of history. People who are against progress and inclusion never look good in a textbook. My daughters have been so lucky. We have tons of gay friends. They've known out gay couples their entire lives. Do you know what they think about it? Nothing. They look at that the same way they look at my husband and I have been married for 20 years. They don't care. They're just kind kids who want to be nice to people, and schools need to focus on developing good citizens in addition to the